Dear students, a very good morning to all of you. So, today I will briefly explain to you about the figure of speech. So, you pay attention to what I say and just open the note that you have written, which I had already sent you the notes. So, if you have written it, please take that. Okay. So, first I have given some definition about what is a figure of speech. What are they? They are figure of speech is a word or phrase. Word means a single word. It could be a phrase, a group of words that possesses separate meaning from its literal definition. So these words or phrases used as figure of speech in a particular sentence will have an altogether different meaning. Did you understand? So they are not used in that particular circumstances or in that particular sentence or in the poem. Those words are not used as with its exact original meaning. They are used as having separate meaning or sense altogether. We will come to know about it when we go further. Okay. Now, the first figure of speech which I have given you is alliteration. 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 So, what are alliteration? Alliterations are used as figure of speech, especially in the poems, to add a rhythm to it. So, when you use alliteration, the sentence will have a rhythm, or the statement, or the lines, or the poem will have a rhythm. Okay. So, alliteration is what they are: a repetition of the beginning sound, a repetition of the beginning sound, B sound. Okay, beginning sound. For example, just see, she sells sea shells in the seashore. Okay, you see this repetition of the beginning sound, she sells sea shells, that sha, si, sha is repeated, isn't it? The beginning sound is being repeated here in the sea shore. Again, shore. See that sha, sha, sha is repeated. So that gives beauty. Okay, now again, brain and brown to the highest bidders. Brain and brown. So that bra, bra is being repeated. Okay, so they are called alliteration. The beginning sound is being repeated. Now we move on to the second one called anaphora. What are anaphoras? They are also techniques employed in the English language, in the literature, where several phrases or words begin with the same word or words. Okay, in the first one, only the sound is being repeated. The beginning sound is being repeated, whereas in the anaphora, what is repeated? So, the same word or words. So, same word or words are repeated in anaphora. So, here you have an example. So, what is the example? See, I saw, I came, I conquered. So, that I word, the word I is repeatedly used. So, that particular word called I is several times used. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. See, here it was the is repeated. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So this particular phrase is being repeatedly used. Thus, it adds beauty to the poem or the phrase. Okay. Now the next one, it is assonance. So what are assonance? So assonance, again they are the repetition of the vowel sound, a rep of the vowel sound. So they are repetition of the vowel sound. Here you have the example, might, like, to take a flight. So that I might like to take a flight, that I sound is being, vowel sound is being repeatedly used. So in the alliteration, what is repeated? The beginning sounds are of the neighboring words are being repeated. In the second one, several the words or word or words are being repeated. In the assonance, the vowel sound is being repeated. Oh, here old Triton blow his withered wreathed horn. Okay. There the O is being repeatedly used in that example. Okay. Now we move on to euphemism. So what are euphemism? Euphemism is a mild, indirect, vague term that often substitutes a harsh, blunt or offensive term. See, for example, death. So when you hear this death, it is some kind of end of a person's life, death. Or something like thin, see, bald head he has a bald head. No, that gives pain to him, isn't it? So you say a little thin on top. Okay, that means a thin on top means he has got a very thin layer of hair on his head. So instead of bald head, you use that more soothing words like a thin on the top. Instead of dead or died, you say a person is passed away. So when you use passed away, it will give only very a soothing way of expressing a harsh reality called death, passed away. Okay, so they are called euphemism. Now DE. See here hyperbole. What are they? Hyperbole. They are they use for the exaggeration of certain things. Okay. So they uses exaggeration for emphasis or effect. To have more effect, you add exaggeration to it. I told you 1,000 times. Actually, he did not tell it, or I did not tell you 1,000 times. 1, 2, 3 like that. 1,000 times I did not tell you. I may have told you 5 times. Then you say, I told you 1,000 times. Don't do that. So that 1,000 times is, actually in the definition of figure of speech, we heard that the words are used with its separate with a separate meaning, not the literal meaning. The literal meaning of 1,000 is what? 1,000. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800, 900, 1,000. Okay, whereas in the when it is used as a figure of speech, the 1,000 has only the meaning of 5, isn't it? I told you 5 times. Instead of that, you say, by saying that 1,000 times means it is more. I told you many times, but you did not obey me. Or you say, that must have cost $1 billion. Actually, that may not have cost $1 billion and all. A car, it may cost only some 30,000 rupees or $30,000. But you say it must have cost $1 billion. No, a lot. So instead of that, use this one. Okay. Now we move on to F. It is irony. So irony is occurs when there is a marked contrast between what is said and what is meant. Okay, so something that is something that some two opposing realities are brought together. Okay, two opposing realities. Okay, the cop was the traffic police was arrested for not taking driving license. Okay, actually the traffic cop should not have done that mistake. Okay, he himself has done that mistake. Okay, so that is an irony. Okay, again another example for this irony. You say there is a good news that all of you have failed. Okay, so that is an ironic way of expressing. Or there is a bad news that all of you got a distinction. So opposing sentiments, they are put together. Okay, now the Titanic was said to be unsinkable but sank on its first voyage. Okay, so what happened is different. Okay, now we move on to the next one, AFG. Okay, G, it is oxymoron. Oxymoron.